Hey everyone, welcome back to White Sparrow Living, Luke 12:6. I'm Wendy, and today we are kicking off the Christmas season doing some Dollar Tree DIYs for your Christmas home decor. So let's get started. For this first project, I'm going to be using this happy birthday party hat, and I got one that was kind of messed up because I knew they couldn't sell it like this, but I'm going to be taking that garland off anyway, so it'll work perfectly for me. And then I picked up this Halloween galvanized tree base. I can take off the trick or treat on there, so I'm going to make it into Christmas. And then I have some red mesh and some white mesh, and then some, it's kind of like a tulle material, this really pretty lime green color. I wasn't sure how many rolls I was going to need, but I'll show you how many we end up using once we get started. So I'm going to take off all of that garland and the tags from my little party hat, and then I'll pull out the little streamers at the top. Now this is going to be our Christmas tree base, and so to keep it together, I just added a few staples on the seam so that it didn't come apart while I was putting it together. Now we're going to be gathering our mesh, but Dollar Tree mesh is really pretty thin, so I could see through, and I saw the silver and the letters of my party hat. So I'm just going to take it outside and give it a quick coat of some white spray paint. I have it on my Lazy Susan in my little spray painting booth, and I'll just give that one coat. A little bit will still show through, but you don't see it once I get the tool on there. So I'm going to make about a 13 or 14 inch strip, and I'll cut a bunch of these down in the red, the white, and the green, and I'm just going to roll the two ends together. Now it's kind of already automatically rounded or curled because it's on the roll, so it's really easy to do this. And then once I pull them into the middle or go to the center with my rolls, I'm going to grab it in the middle of my little piece and then kind of mushy it down, and then add a chenille stem in the middle, and then twist it on back, and then I'll cut off the excess chenille stem. And so I'm just going to do a whole bunch. I ended up using 2 rolls of the red, 1.5 of the white, and then 1 of the green ones. So once I had a nice perky pile of this red, white, and green cuteness, I'm going to take each of my little bundles, and right at the top where my chenille stem is on the back, I'm going to add some hot glue and then attach it to my cone. Now it kept rolling around, so I put up my little string dispenser inside of it to give it some weight, and then set the cone or the tip part on top of another roll of mesh so that it stopped rolling around on me. And then I'm going to take my silicone applicator, and once I get the glue on there, I'll push it down with that, because you know the glue comes through that mesh. So I didn't want to burn myself, and so I'm just going to do that all the way around. I'm starting with the red at the very base of my tree, and then once I get that first row all done, I'm going to start my second row just above it in the white. And I'll just do the same thing. Once I get the white done, then I'll move to the lime green and then go back to the red. And obviously as you go higher up on your cone, you're going to need fewer of those little bundles. That's why I didn't have to use as much of the white or the green as I went up my cone. And then once I get to the very tippy top, I'm just going to do that final layer of the lime green and just smush it all together so that it stays snug as a bug in a rug. I thought I was going to have to add some additional pieces to cover everything up, but there were no real gaps, and since we painted it white, nothing showed through, and it looked really super cutie patootie. So I wasn't sure what kind of star I was going to use until the very end. So I found these galvanized stars from the Dollar Tree, and I thought they were perfect and matched my little base. And so I'm going to take the sticker off of that, and then I'm going to take some acetone, and with a paper towel I just dipped it into this jar, and I have a little vent hole at the top, so if you have this stored away, you know, it doesn't explode when you open it. So I'm just going to take my star and I'm going to add some hot glue and add that to the tippy top of my tree, and then this hat just fits perfectly on top of the little stand. And once I was all done with it, I got the little flyaway pieces that were, you know, coming off the frayed edges, and just cut those off everywhere I needed to. And here it is all finished, and I think this is so, so pretty. I remember my aunt used to always decorate in the reds and the lime greens, and I think that's such a pretty combination for Christmas and something a little bit different. And I only found one Dollar Tree sign that had some lime green in it, so I added my little Santa right there. I love this, and I hope you guys like it too. Today's video is in collaboration with 3 of my sweet friends, and this is just part 1. We'll be doing another one on November 9th. So we have Linda at Linda's DIY by Design, Emily at Farm Charm Chic, and Patty at Patty J Good. So make sure when you're done watching this video, you go and stop by, hit the playlist. It'll be linked below. And if you're coming here from their video, welcome, and I'm so happy you're here. For our next project, I'm going to be using this wooden nativity scene from the Dollar Tree, and one of the little trees from the 3-packs. I'm sure you've seen that before. Some faux snow, and then I have one little set of fairy lights left over from my 12-pack. I'll have these linked below. And then I'm using my dome. It was a cheese dome I did in another video. I'll have that linked right here. And it's just a glass vase with a knob on top, and then I have a Dollar Tree sign that I, you know, sanded down, and it's super cutie patootie the way it is, but we're going to dress it up and make it Christmassy. So I'm taking my pieces, and I'm first going to use my antique wax on the little manger part, and I'm doing both sides on all of my pieces. And for this, you just want to brush that on. The little pieces are so small, I just used a small brush, put it on there, and then wiped it off with a paper towel. And then for my 3 wise men, I'm going to paint those with my black chalk paint, and again doing both sides of those. And then for my Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, I'm going to paint those with my Waverly chalk paint in white. And I made sure to do the sides of my little pieces because they do show there's like a brown edging, which would still be pretty. And if you wanted to rusty this up, or rusticky it up, that's not a word, but you know what I mean, you can leave those blank. I mean, you can leave those unpainted. So now I'm going to have this under my dome, and the base, this is where you set all of your pieces. I'm sure you've seen this before, but it's not going to fit under my dome. So I'm going to take some cutters and just trim off the edges and the corners so that it will fit under my dome. And then just to make it kind of go away, I'm going to paint that white as well. But make sure you don't clog up those holes. And then for a base, I'm going to pull off one side of this ribbon roll just because it happened to be the exact size. You could use foam board or whatever to put it on there. I didn't want to glue it down onto my little cheese dome because I still want to use it like that. So this way I'll be able to take it off and use it again. So now I'm going to assemble all of my nativity pieces, and I'm going to check it again to make sure that it fits under my dome. Now my manger was a little bit tall, so I had to cut that down, and all I did was made a slit, and I actually cut it down one more time, and then I'll put the base into those little holes and then glue the top part on there so that it stays in place, but now it's shorter. And then my Mary and Joseph, their fannies were a little bit too wide, so I didn't put them in the hole. I just glued them right snug up against Jesus's manger, and that's all going to be covered with my faux snow, so you won't see that. So once I get everything in place and I check it again, you just want to keep checking it to make sure everything will fit. But you can see now why I made my wise men in the black paint, and then Mary, Jesus, and Joseph are in the white so that you can see it. And then the manger, of course, in that antique wax. And it just looks so pretty all layered like that. So now I'm going to hot glue that to my spool end or my little base there. And then I put that tree behind the manger to be in the background. And I didn't film it, but I cut off a part of the base so that it went up right against the manger and it didn't stick out too far. And then I'm going to take my fairy lights and I wrapped one end around the manger itself. And then the other part, I'm just going to leave it in the little roll like it comes and then just kind of spread it out and put it between the manger and the wise men so that it's kind of giving it a glow from within. And it just looks so magical. I love small miniatures and all the pretty lights and stuff. And then I'm going to take the little switch and I'll put that in there so that the switch itself, I'm able to get to that if I just lift the side of the dome, and then I can turn it on and off. And then I took some glue and I'm going to put that all on the front there and then rubbed it around with a makeup sponge, and then took my faux snow and just spooned it onto the front and pushed it down with the back of my little baby spoon. And then now we have a pretty snowy scene. We know it didn't snow on Jesus's birthday, but you know, we're just mixing a little winter with this scene. And then I took some Christmas greenery and I'm just gonna glue some here and there on the front of my scene and then a little bit in between. You can see here what I'm doing, and just glued it in there wherever I thought it was pretty. And then I'll just put that onto my wooden base and put my dome over it. And look how pretty that is. So now I'm going to take some permanent adhesive and I'm going to take a candle holder from the Dollar Tree and, you know, lift my piece up and put it onto the candle holder. And I can still use my cheese dome, and it's a little bit taller this way, so I was okay with gluing it on there. That part will be permanent, but look how pretty this is. Here it is at night, all lit up, and you know I love the magic with the lights and the scene of what's happening and the true reason for the season, but I think this just elevates it so much. Anytime you put something into a dome, it just highlights it and makes it more special. I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. If you are ever in the Instagram neighborhood, come stop by and see me. I always have some behind the scenes footage of the grandbabies and just different things and projects. Here you can see little Kendall, or AKA number 4, going through and helping me to change out the seasons. I know a lot of you love to see updates on those grandbabies of ours. And here's Cadence at a church craft fair. She made some homemade lip glosses and lip oils. This was totally her idea. She did it all by herself. I helped with the labels that I ordered on Etsy and printed out. I had to personalize them and put them on the little bottles, and then my brother made the price list and a little Venmo scan code. And this was a really fun moment. Take a listen. What? What did you say?
Did you just say hi?
What?
That was his first word.
Hi. Okay.
Well, this is my lip gloss.
Very nice. And let's see all the different ones we have.
Medium lip oil, mini lip oil, and large lip gloss.
So cute.
That one's the best.
This is Kay's Kisses with labels personalized by Grandma. Yes. So that was Carter, and AKA number 5, and we could not believe that he said that. It was just plain as day when he said hi. He saw Grandma filming. So anyway, this was a very successful time, and Cadence sold out completely. She'll be doing some more craft fairs, and I just thought this was so adorable. And then I also ran into a sweet viewer, Lisa, over at Me and My Shadow. She makes the most beautiful shadow boxes using her CRICUT. She made some sweet little tissue holders that say bless you. She has a twin sister that helps her do all of this, and I'm telling you, everything was just so beautiful, and I was so excited to run into her, and we took pictures, and she knew who I was, so that was really cool. Anyway, that's me and my shadow. I will also have her Instagram linked in the description box below. For this project, I'm going to be using one of these long chunky signs from the Dollar Tree. All of these are from Dollar Tree. And then 2 square signs. They don't have to be Christmas, but these just happen to be Christmas, and I want them perfectly square, so you'll need 2 of those. And then I have a rectangular one. This is from the fall season. Again, it doesn't matter what they are, but they're super cute. And then I have these 2 little pieces. I got these a while back, and I never knew what to do with them, so this is going to be the perfect project to use those up. So I'm going to get all of the hangers off of my signs and get the staples out, and then I'm going to use my sanding sponge to get the ickies off. And then I'm only going to need to have the rectangular one perfect, so I'm going to use some spackle and put that into the holes to fill those up so that when I paint it you don't see it as much, but this whole piece is going to show. The other 2 where the staples were, I don't need to sand that down or anything because that'll be covered. And then I'm going to use my heat tool to get the sticker off of my long sign. This is always so fun because those stickers are stubborn, but this is super easy when you heat it up. And then I'll sand that down a little bit. I'm not even going to sand off the lettering or anything because my white's going to cover it up for the most part. If anything's peeking through, that doesn't matter because that's just going to be our stand. And then I'm going to paint my big rectangular one with the white chalk paint. And you want to make sure that you get the sides, and you could paint the backs because you know, it's going to be on the back side. I'm trying to conserve my paint, so I'm just going to be doing the front. And then on my square ones, I'm going to take 1 small square and 1 big square. Those 2 I'm going to paint with my crimson chalk paint, and then the other 2 I'm going to paint with my celery chalk paint. So I'll give those each a couple of coats. So you're going to end up with the small ones, 1 in red, 1 in green, the square ones, 1 in red, 1 in green, and then my rectangular one in white. And then of course my base is also going to be white. So now I'm going to take these notorious Dollar Tree burlap ribbons with the polka dots, and then some of this linen looking Dollar Tree ribbon in the 5/8 inch. And then to give this piece some dimension, I'm going to use my Jenga pieces. I have 6 of the long ones and then 4 of the little block pieces. This will all make sense in a minute, but I'm going to take my smaller squares and use that linen ribbon to attach from the top to the bottom, and I'm just going to hot glue that on the back and then cut off the excess. And now this is starting to look like a package, okay, or a gift. That's what we're making here. I think I forgot to mention that. So I'll do that on both my red and my green package, and that ribbon will match. And then once I get those completely wrapped, I'll hot glue my little blocks to one side on the back side. Again, this will make sense in a second. So here you see where those staple marks are. I'm going to add my long Jenga pieces to the edge, and I put 3 on each side, and then this is going to lift up my packages from the back side, or you know, my white one's going to go on top of this. Oh my goodness, this is hard to explain, but you see what I'm doing here, and it will again make sense as soon as you see it go all together. But first we're going to add some ribbon to our square presents, and so I'm adding the white polka dotted one onto the red package, and then the red polka dots will go on my green package. So I'm just doing the same thing that I did with the smaller packages. I'm going to add my hot glue onto the back and then get that right in the center of each of those gifts. So then I went to my CRICUT, and in my design space I designed this, and I'm going to do this in black adhesive vinyl, and this is from FRISCO Craft, and I always have them linked in the description box below, but I'm going to cut out my letters, and it says, "Our greatest present is his presence." So you see where this is going? These are all little presents that we're putting on this sign, and so this is going to be the middle one. And I'll have these fonts linked in the description box below. So after I weed it all out, I'm going to put some transfer tape on top and then pull off the backing sheet and then put that towards the top of my white present. And I'm leaving some room for a bow on top, and then also a lot of space down at the bottom because I'm going to draw a little manger with a little baby head peeking out. So all I did was I used my ruler. I just kind of freehanded how I wanted it, but then I made my lines straight using my ruler. And then I'm going to fill that in with my black chalk paint. And I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to have kind of rough edges so it looks a little rustic looking. And so that'll go right below our decal. So now we're going to put everything together, and I'm going to add some hot glue to the top of my Jenga pieces, and then I'll spread it out just enough so that they're underneath my white sign and they're not showing. And so I did one side at a time and then made sure that they were level. And then just to give it some more security, I'm going to add some staples to the back, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to add my stand, and I want it to be standing up the way it would be if it was, being used as the sign it was intended for. And I'm going to attach my presents to that stand using some more staples, and these will be covered up by the smaller gifts once we put those on. So before I attach those little ones, I'm going to make my bows now because I think it is going to be a little bit easier to attach everything while it's still flat. So I'm just going to do the crossover method where I just kind of fold it over in a tri-fold pattern, and then use a little chenille stem to attach it in the middle, and then I'll hot glue that to the top of my gift. And then I'm going to take those tails and kind of give them a little bumpity bump and just use my hot glue to do that. And then to add some more cuteness, I took a little styrofoam glittery ball, and I'll just hot glue that right in the middle of my bow so that my chenille stem doesn't show. So I found these two little styrofoam blocks, and I'm going to use those to have my smaller packages kind of lean on that, and then that way it gives it a little more security and has something to rest on. You could just stack some more Jenga pieces if you wanted, but I had these, and remember, it's not hoarding if you use it. I knew at some point this would come in handy. So I'm going to glue that to the sides, and then I'll put the small boxes on top of that using my hot glue, and I'm putting that on only half of my blocks because where they're located, I wanted the package to go a little further to the right in this case. And so my blocks were in a position where I only needed to use half of it. You can see there it's half on the sign, and then the rest of it will rest on that little styrofoam piece. And again, I want to make sure that the bottom is completely flat so that there's no wonkety wonk going on. So now I'm going to take my matching ribbon and make another three 3-fold, bow, just like we did with the smaller ones, using my chenille stem. And this was the first one that I used. Oh, I didn't use chenille stem. I used some jute twine. But this was the first one that I made, and so I'm going to remake this one in a second, but I'm just showing you how I did it. I wrapped my jute twine around the middle and then just let the ends hang down. But when I made my red one, I made the tails a little bit longer and they were kind of rolling up, and I thought that was really cute. So I went back and made another white one with the longer tails as well. And then I'm just going to use my hot glue and attach those to the top of each of my presents, and then add a little bit bigger styrofoam ball right in the middle. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with this pretty green ribbon that is actually from the fall line, and then some red Christmas ribbon, and then I'll take some of that black polka dotted burlap ribbon and put that right in the middle. So I did the exact same thing where I, crisscrossed it and made it into thirds, and then I'm just grabbing it in the middle and attaching them all together, and then I'll use this time I'm using a chenille stem, I'm pretty sure. And then I'll dovetail the ends and then attach that to the top of my middle present. And I want to make sure that my tails are not covering my decal so that you can read the whole thing. So I'm going to move those tails around and kind of glue those in place so that everything shows and you can read that sign. And here it is all finished, and I've got all 3 projects together. I think this looks so pretty, but really gives the message of what Christmas is all about. I love the coordinating ribbons, and you could distress the edges of this if you wanted to go for a more rustic look, but I love the crispness of this. I like it like this, but you do it however you want. I love how it turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. I hope you enjoyed all of these projects, and if you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you think. If you're not already, I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button down below, as well as the little bell right next to it so that you can be notified every time I upload a brand new video. Don't forget the reason for the season, and also make sure you stop by Emily, Linda, and Patty's videos. I hope everyone has a blessed day, and remember to always be the light. Bye!